What a great story. I mean, like you, Michael came in the beginning when WETA was airing this. It was actually 21 years ago. That was my bad when I said 19 earlier. But what a long-standing commitment you all have made to this series and have brought the rest of us along who were late arrivers. But what is it that originally attracted you to the series?
Well, I come from a working class background. My father was a taxi cab driver in New York for years. And it's just that whole ethos I can't say growing up in suburbia we were as tight-knit as Walford is, but it was something maybe I would have liked to experience firsthand.
Well, it sounds like the Queen feels the same way, you know. I mean, well, she's a fan.
The Gretchen was the British Gran I never had, and we remained very friendly right up until her death in 2005.
Oh, that's really wonderful. I mean, it seems like I guess it's a drama, right? So, you know, people are playing roles. But on the other hand, there seems to be such genuineness about these actors. Is that what you found when you were interviewing them?
Well, it's interesting. I mean, Ethel's, I think, the exception. Most of the actors are much different from their characters. June Brown is a proper English lady. Nothing like Doc Cotton.
Darn. Oh,
well. Some of them are similar. I mean, Sean Williamson plays Barry Evans, is very the life of the party. I mean, in real life as well as on the show. I mean, at least he tries to be on the show.
Right. Very soon to be published. Albert, Square, and Me for your $150 pledge. The Actors EastEnders book. The book contains 52 exclusive interviews with your favorite EastEnders actors. Larry is the editor, and we've got to talk about this, Larry. You know, we've been watching these really intense moments with Mark. And you've talked to this actor several times.
Todd Carty, actually just once. But I had this flashback watching that episode of my conversation with him. And I was actually in the office of a magazine called Inside Soap in London. And they furnished Todd's phone number. And I caught him in the dressing room. And it was a really nice interview in the sense that, again, it's somebody who's different from his character. And he was kind of quiet, and it took a little work to get him to talk a little bit. But once I got him, what was interesting was that I asked him who were his acting influences, and he said Marlon Brando was the first one.
Really?
And which made a lot of sense because Mark, the character, drives a motorcycle, and I thought of Marlon Brando in The Wild One.
Dealing with a lot of complicated emotions,
right,
and you know,
right.
yeah.
But one of the things from that conversation that really stood out for me was I said to him, well, you know, there was this episode where Ian and Mark were fighting, and they were fighting over this kids game that they have, some football game, and I said, you know, that types of conversations are how cousins always dealt with each other. And he said, that's exactly right. You know, that's how he dealt with his cousins.
So they don't shy away from reality, I'll say that. That's definitely a way. You know, we have this How to Speak EastEnders glossary of Cockney expressions. When you first started, you said you've loved things British for a long time. Did you have trouble? I've heard of people who can't really pick it up at first, Americans who can't really hear what's there. I mean, they need the captions. Did it take you a while, or...?
No, I think it's similar to what's interesting is compared to my former in-laws who are from the Deep South, I think I understood more of the Cockneys than I did them. But actually, this question was asked of me by one of the producers. How much did Americans understand? And I said, I think Anglophiles pick up on the nuances of the language, and maybe 10% they don't understand. But thanks to your glossary, they will be able to find out those little missing pieces. But another difference between Americans and the British and how we perceive EastEnders is that we consider it to be a drama, whereas the Brits think it's a soap. When we hear soap, we think of the rich and the beautiful, the daytime soap operas, and like The Bold and the Beautiful. There, it's more just because it's a continuing serial. That they think it's a soap opera. We really don't have anything like it on American television, and I think that's why I've always been attracted to it. I was always looking for something different.
Yeah, and the way it depicts a kind of slice of culture that we just rarely see at all, even comedically.
Right.
Yeah.
Exactly.